Hey guys, welcome back to the Meters YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making carnivore pizza. So I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous because I've actually never made a carnivore pizza before. But although I was hesitant to do a video just in case I mess it up or it doesn't turn out right, I figured why not just go for it, just film the whole thing and see how it goes. I'm hopeful that it's going to turn out great, but we won't know until we give it a shot. So let's dive right in, and I'm going to let you guys know what ingredients I will be using today. For the base, I'm going to use ground chicken, eggs, and cheddar cheese. So I'm gonna make two pizzas today. I'm not sure yet if so I'm gonna make two pizzas or one really big pizza. We're gonna see how much crust I have once I kind of like mix everything together. Maybe one big pizza will fit here. If not, I'm gonna do one smaller pizza here and then another smaller pizza in this pie dish, which I don't know if that's gonna be successful or not, but we'll see. So I will give you the measurements. Sorry, there's a doggy here. I'm gonna give you the measurements for one pizza and two pizzas as well, just in case. So for one pizza, I would use 1 pound of ground chicken and less than half a cup, a little bit less than half a cup of cheese and 2 eggs. For two pizzas, use 2 pounds of ground chicken, about a cup of cheese. So I'm using cheddar. I'm pretty sure you could use parm or mozzarella, and 4 eggs. And you're also gonna need some parchment paper, and I've got this like little pizza tray. I've never used it before. I bought it for this purpose, so we'll see how it goes. And some salt. For the sauce, and actually I just want to mention something. I know if you guys have watched my videos, I've mentioned before that I don't really eat dairy, I don't eat cheese, and it's true, I actually don't. The last time I had cheese was like over a year ago. It was around the holidays. I know I had cheese last year for Christmas. I was having way too much cheese than my body could handle though, and that was kind of like a sign for me that my body wasn't really reacting well. I kind of like put on weight and I broke out, so it just doesn't really sit well with me. But it's been a while, and I thought, why not? It's the holidays. Can have a little bit of fun with some cheese in a carnivore pizza. But yeah, for those of you wondering, I don't usually consume dairy, and if I do buy cheese or dairy, I always try to source raw cheese, raw dairy. So that means that it hasn't been pasteurized. So it's pure. And then for the sauce for the pizza, I'm gonna go more for like an Alfredo sauce. So I've got raw cream here, and I got another cheddar. I wanted to kind of stay in the cheddar family. I don't know if that's a good decision because I'm not really like a cheese expert, but I've tried this cheese before. It's called apple tree smoked cheddar cheese. It's really good. It's kind of, you can really taste that smoked flavor, and it's also raw. So I'm gonna use these two for the sauce, and then also I hope to have enough fat from my bacon, because I'm gonna put a little bit of bacon as a topping, and I hope to add that bacon grease into the sauce as well. And then for the topping for the pizza, as I mentioned, I've got like 3 slices of bacon left here, which I'm gonna fry up and chop into small pieces. And I've got some nose to tail ground beef, so that organ meat ground beef. So this has got heart, kidney, and liver and tongue. I think some of those mixtures in there. So yeah, I'm gonna basically fry this up, drain the liquid so that it doesn't make the pizza soggy, and yeah, that's about it. So that's, I guess, the first time I've ever recited that whole recipe out loud. Like I said, I've never made this before, so I'm a little bit like panicky, but I have hope that it'll go well. You guys are gonna notice I'm not prepared tools wise. I don't have the right bowls. Makes you realize though when you move out and you buy your kitchen utensils and stuff, as a meter, I need so little. I need plates, sharp knives, and cutting boards. I don't really have big bowls like for baking or anything like that, and so this is the biggest bowl I have, and I'm gonna have to mix everything by hand in here, so that's okay, right? I hope you guys aren't judging me for my lack of kitchen tools, but we'll make it work. So let's get started with making the pizza crust. Also, wanted to mention, on the topic of not having the proper tools, I realize I don't have a cheese grater, which sucks, but because I'm going to be using this apple tree smoked cheddar in the sauce, I'm just going to save a couple of slices to lay over the pizza when I put the ground beef and the bacon. And those slices, I'll cut them really thin and they'll melt. Regardless, the sauce is going to be cheesy, and we're good to go. So this is actually the smoked cheddar cheese. I just said I don't have a cheese grater, and then when I opened the smoked cheddar cheese, it kind of just crumbled on me in my hands, and I think it's because I had previously had it frozen. It tastes fine though, so I'm sure nothing's wrong with it, and this kind of worked out better for me because I could just add this to the sauce and then add some of it, sprinkle it on top of the pizza. So right now I'm actually waiting for the other cheddar cheese for the crust to melt, and in the meantime I've got my ground chicken in my bowl, and I'm just kind of prepping everything else. So I've chopped up the bacon for the topping, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I always like to kind of prep my stuff, my ingredients, especially when I'm making a new recipe. I like to have everything ready to go so that I'm not wasting any time, because I tend to burn food when I'm unprepared. Let's dive into making this crust. So 2 pounds of chicken for 2 pizzas, or maybe 1 big one. I don't know yet. We'll see. If you're gonna just make 1 pizza, 1 pound should be enough. And I'm gonna crack 4 eggs in here. This is gonna be hard to mix with such limited space. And in the meantime, what I've done is I have preheated the oven to 350 degrees. So that's going to be the temperature that I'm going to bake the crust at. So we got the 2 pounds of chicken and 4 eggs. Or if you want a smaller pizza, you could do 1 pound and 2 eggs. And here in this really hot bowl, I've got my cheese. Let me just find my spatula. Sometimes these things really come in handy. If I can figure out what my strong hand is. Okay, there we go. So this is like cup of cheese, I'd say. It's cheddar cheese. I melted it down. I no longer use the microwave. I haven't used the microwave in a couple of months and it feels really good. I don't want to break that streak, so I just put like heat resistant bowl in the oven with the cheese inside. Okay, I'm gonna get in there with my hands. So let me show you this next part. So we've got a super mushy looking mixture. I didn't expect it to look so wet, but we're gonna hope that it works out and that it's gonna crisp up in the oven. So one last thing I'm gonna add is I'm gonna add a little bit of cheese, but I don't wanna add too much because the cheese is already salty, and I've made that mistake in the past where I've added salt to something that had cheese and it was like a total disaster. So yeah, I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt, mix it again with my hands, and then we'll move on to the next step of lining the pizza tray with some parchment paper. I still haven't decided if I'm gonna do one big pizza or two smaller ones. I'll have to kind of play it by ear as we go along. Just gonna add some salt. And then one last time, mix everything up. It feels really gooey. Don't know how this is gonna turn out. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Okay, so let's start with tray one. I'm gonna grab my parchment paper. I'm gonna grab my scissors because I'm weird like that and I just wanna cut off some of the edges. Okay. And I'm thinking it's probably best to do a thin layer, not a thick one, otherwise it won't cook evenly. Use this. Well, you know what? I'm gonna use my hands. That's probably the most accurate way I could do this. So I'm seeing some little holes. I'm gonna make sure to patch those up. And from what I've seen, other people have been able to kind of do like a crust-like shape. So I'm gonna also attempt to do that. So I think it's kind of like okay to put more in the middle and then like just work your way on spreading it out. That's kind of what I'm doing, and I'm definitely gonna make two pizzas instead of one big one because it'll be too thick to just make one. And now for the second piece, I'm going to use this pie dish. This could probably go really wrong, but we'll see. I'm still going to put parchment paper. Might turn out more like a deep dish pie. We'll see. So, surprise, surprise, unexpected things happen when you cook a new recipe for the first time. So this batch is way too big for the tools that I have, so I'm also going to try to make a little rectangular pizza. Now, the only thing is my dog is growling, sorry. The only thing is my initial recipe called for the crust to bake at, sorry about that, at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Because I'm doing multiple pizzas at a time, that time might be longer now. So we will have to wait and see. Alright guys, so this is probably the one with the most potential. Then I give this one second place. And then I don't know about this guy. He's more like a deep dish pie. But we will see. So, moving on to the next step. So right now I'm gonna pop these 3 pizzas and MEATZZAs in the oven. I've already preheated the oven to 350 degrees and I'm gonna set the timer to 15 minutes, but I have a feeling it's gonna take a little bit longer than that. In the meantime, I'm gonna get started on cooking the ground beef as well as the bacon and the sauce for the pizza. So that's a whole lot to do all at once. I might not pop the pizza in just yet and maybe get started on the ground beef because I don't really mind if the ground beef gets cold because it's gonna go back in the oven anyway. I don't really like to overwhelm myself with like 3 things on the stove, pizza in the oven, disaster. So just do whatever you're comfortable with all at once. I'm gonna start with making the ground beef and the bacon. Okay, you guys, I've got my ground beef here cooking in some beef tallow. So this is gonna be used for the toppings. Pizza is not yet in the oven. I've actually decided that first I'm gonna handle the meat toppings of the pizza, and then once I'm done the meat toppings, I'm gonna pop the crust in the oven and focus on the sauce base. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. And then little bacon pieces are also frying up. Don't you guys love my little spoon spatula thing? Whoa! I'm not gonna fully cook the bacon to like make it super crispy because it's still gonna cook when I put it in the oven on the pizza crust. And I think I'm almost ready to take this off the stove too and drain the juice. And I'm just gonna put the ground beef in this bowl here. Okay, I just finished cooking the bacon and the ground beef, and I'm gonna put the pizza crust in the oven now, 350 for 12 to 15 minutes. We'll see if it takes longer. And now you and I are gonna make the sauce. And for the sauce, I've got this on medium-low heat. I've got a little bit over a cup of heavy cream, raw cream, my little mixer, and some of that smoked cheddar cheese. And we're gonna start to just pour the cream in there. I'm not gonna add the cheese just yet, and I'm just gonna focus on stirring this quite a lot because you want it to get thick and creamy. I might have to play around with the heat a little bit. I've never actually done this before, so we'll see what happens. So we're still going at it. texture hasn't changed that much, but it is a little bit more bubbly. I keep switching between this, and I find that it is kind of changing the texture a little bit. But I think I'm gonna add some cheese. And I'm not gonna add all of the cheese because I want to have some to sprinkle on the pizza. So just a little bit of cheese. And now I'm gonna use this. And it's still low heat, it's at 2.8. I've read online that this part can take long for the cream to start looking and feeling like a sauce. So I'm being patient. The pizza crust has 2 minutes and 11 seconds to go. I checked it 5 minutes ago though, and it looked nowhere near being ready. So we shall see. You guys, I'm so freaking proud. So it is starting to look like a sauce. I have been playing around with the heat a little bit. So for the majority of the time, it's been super, super low. But 2 times I put it just below medium, like around a 3.5. And I feel like it's getting thicker. I tasted it and it, oh, so good. So now I'm gonna put it on super low, 2.2, because it is bubbling and kind of just want it to stay warm. I added another 5 minutes to the pizza crust, so that will be 20 minutes in total, and it should be ready. I'll have to take them out and kind of see what they look like. Okay, so I've taken one pizza out, pizza crust, and the thing that I notice is the cheese kind of like dripped to the side, so I just kind of cleaned that up, and it is kind of gooey here. That's all cheese. So what I kind of want to do is take a little bit of that off, and I want to flip the crust and put the toppings on the other side so that this side can also cook a little bit more. But other than that, the ground chicken pretty much looks like it's cooked. So I'm gonna flip this guy over and take away anything that's like soggy or juicy, and hopefully that will be okay. Same thing with this guy. So I'm gonna take away the cheese on the sides and I'm gonna flip it. Let me show you what this guy looks like flipped. And I'm actually gonna pop it in the oven for another like 5-6 minutes before I add the toppings, because I want it to be obviously a little bit more on the crispy side. These two little guys I have flipped over. This big one I have not. I've just kind of cleaned like the oozing cheese on the side because it was kind of slimy. But I'm not gonna flip over because I feel like this one's on the verge of getting crispy, but I think because there are 3 pizza crusts taking up space in the oven, that these are gonna need a lot more time than just like a regular one standard pizza for 12 to 15 minutes at 350. I think we're gonna need to do easily like another 15-20 minutes on these guys. So we shall see. Wish me luck. I really hope that this turns out good. So I'm going to pop them back in the oven right now. So I've also increased the temperature to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And now I'm going to set, we'll do 20 minutes, but I'm going to check it around the 10-12 minute mark and see how it's doing. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes in the oven again for the pizza crust, and it's not ready yet. It's not crispy, so I'm gonna put it another 10 minutes. It's taking longer than I thought, but it's okay. We gotta be patient, and I'm confident that this will still turn out great. Okay, so I just popped it in there for another 5 minutes. It is almost done. It's crisping up, thank goodness. So I mean, this was one of the reasons why I didn't really want to do this video in the first place, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get the recipe right and I wanted it to be perfect. But I think maybe we shouldn't be so concerned with everything being perfect all the time, and maybe you guys can learn from my mistakes when you watch these videos. I think that the mistake I made was putting in too many pizzas in the oven all at once. That takes up a lot of heat in the oven. But if you're gonna just do one pizza, so that's 1 pound of ground chicken, 2 eggs, and a little bit of cheese, I think you should be fine with like 20 minutes at 350, but you won't know until you try it yourself. Or you could still make a big batch like I did, but don't be an impatient Sally and just put in the oven 1 pizza at a time. I always like to have everything ready, and it always bites me in the ass. So let's see what happens with these. I'm gonna take them out soon, put the toppings on, and then pop them back in the oven. So here's our beautiful sauce. This is probably like the best and the only white cream sauce I've ever made in my life. The old carb-fueled pasta loving girl would be proud of me. So I've actually left the other 2 little pizza crust in the oven. They weren't as ready as this guy, but this one is pretty good on both. Oh, I don't want it to break, so I shouldn't be doing that. Don't do that. Learn from me. It's pretty crispy, so I'm gonna start off with putting some of the sauce on there. Okay, now I'm gonna add some ground beef. I don't want to overwhelm the pizza with too much meat because we have to, sorry, my dog's begging. We have to keep in mind the crust is all meat too, so this is going to be heavy regardless. And then I'm going to add a little bit of bacon. Bacon gets to be selectively put on the pizza because we do kind of want the pizza to be like aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I've never had a pizza for Christmas. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I actually forgot, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of cheese. The sauce is already super cheesy, so not too much. Just a bit. Perfect. And then I'm gonna pop this guy in the oven for another 5 minutes, just until the cheese has melted and the bacon crisps up and everything kind of becomes one. Okay, so these are the other 2. This deep dish looking pie didn't get as crispy, but that's all right. We work with what we can. But this one looks pretty good, minus the fact that it has like a little slit in there. But for first time making MEATZZA, I mean, I'm not too disappointed. We'll have to see what it tastes like. Okay, and now it is time to put these guys in the oven for 5 minutes. I'm saying 5 minutes, could be 5, could be 10, I'll let you know. Okay, so 5 minutes are up for that first beautiful round pizza. Ooh, I'm gonna give it like 2-3 more minutes, but it's almost ready. Ooh, look at that. So this is the final pizza. It actually looks not bad. I'm gonna have to give it a try, and I've got some of the leftover cream here, which I'm gonna pretend is garlic sauce. This is a whole lot of dairy for me for one day, but we'll see how it goes. If I have knee pain, it'll all be worth it. So I'm gonna cut up some slices and we're gonna get a little taste test from myself and Daniel. Not bad. So I've cut the slices up. Daniel's ready to dive in. He's gonna use the rest of the sauce as a dipping sauce. What do you think?
Amazing.
Really?
It's a hit.
Really? Are your pizza fantasies complete?
It's complete.
Really?
It's a MEATZZA.
It's a MEATZZA, eh?
It's an incredible MEATZZA. Oh yeah.
So happy. Well, you guys, this is my first MEATZZA. I'm definitely gonna give this another shot. I've got a couple of other ideas in mind, but thanks for watching. Let me know if you give this a shot, if you have any tips or tricks for me, and don't forget to watch the other 2 videos on the screen. Happy holidays, everyone. Have a good one. So I'm still eating the pizza, and you guys, it's freaking good. And Daniel just said that it wouldn't be the same without the dipping sauce. Now, he said that's not to take away from the pizza, but he said to make sure that you have leftover cream sauce to dip your pizza in. So, yep.